All right, we are here at Columbus Catholic, and we are ready to talk to our male winter sports athlete of the year, Bryce Fuerlinger. Bryce, congratulations, athlete of the year. That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with Bryce here today. We're just going to talk about the season, talk about some other stuff, and then give him his award here. And then he's going to go eat lunch. So we're standing in the way of a man and his food, and that's not a comfortable place to be sometimes. So anyway, we're just going to sit here and talk to Bryce a little bit about the season, about what's coming up next in his life. So let's just talk about the season here overall. You and the rest of the guys go to state. I mean, that was pretty cool. It was actually your second time going to state. The first time you were a sophomore. So what was, now that you had time to kind of think about it, it's been about a month since you've been down at the Kohl Center. I mean, aside from the playing time and you being one of the focal points on the court, what was some of the other differences that you realized this time versus when you were a sophomore?
We were a lot more focused, like in the hotel and stuff. Sophomore year, it was more of like an experience, and this year we came to like play and win. Yeah. So I think that was the biggest difference.
What, just kind of pull the curtain back a little bit, what do you and the guys do? I mean, the game takes an hour and a half, and then it's a whole other day till the game. What are you doing in between? Everybody playing cards, watching movies? I mean, what are some of those other activities that you do?
We watched a little bit of film, but then besides that, we were all pretty tired from the game, so we were just resting and preparing for the next day. Right.
So, and the first game was against Bangor. You guys had led for a large part of the game, and then Bangor made a big comeback at the end, tied the game, and then, I think there's maybe only one kid in school that's got more attention from all this than you, all right, and that's Tommy. I mean, Tommy makes the shot, hits a three-pointer. He had just hit a bunch of three-pointers the week before over in Wausau against Green Bay New Lutheran. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But, I mean, what was that like from your point of view? Jared gets the ball up ahead and he just drills it to win the game.
It was so crazy. I just still couldn't believe it. Like, I'm still in denial that it happened. So it was just once-in-a-lifetime experience.
So then you all come back to school on Monday. When we talk about what was Tommy's life like? I mean, how did he handle those first few days back at school?
I don't know. He was like a city hero, I guess, and right. A lot of people thought of him as that.
Yeah. Well, and if he was a city hero, you were a rebound hero. As it turned out, you broke a state record, a record that was previously held by an NBA basketball player. I mean, you kidding me? What does that do for you? What'd you think of that?
I thought it was pretty cool, but I didn't realize it till after we lost, so I was kind of sad about it. But now that I think about it, it's pretty cool to have.
Yeah, and rebounds obviously one of your specialties as far as that's concerned. We found out after the game when you went to state that rebounding, it just takes effort, right? That's what it is. But I mean, you got to have a real nose for the ball, and you got to kind of just throw your body at everything and hope to come down with it. I mean, is there any more to it than that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, okay. And you're out there, you're battling with the other guys on the other team, and they're going for the ball too. I mean, how are you able just to pull down those rebounds more than the other guys are?
So, like you said, a lot of it is positioning, but it also helps to have like height and longer arms, which I'm lucky to have.
Yeah. Well, they say in sports one thing you can't coach is height.
Yeah.
You can't coach speed, all those kind of things. So you got the height, you got the tenacity, all that kind of thing. And he's a state record holder, most rebounds in a state tournament, and record previously held by Sam Decker, who around Wisconsin you talk about local heroes. He had a game winner when he played at the state tournament as well. So he and Tommy have that in common. But now the next time you see Sam, you can tell him I broke your record, man, and I got you.
Yes, I could.
Yeah. Next time you see him, you probably talk to him a lot, all that kind of thing, right? So. Let's go back now to the beginning of the season. So things got off to a pretty good start. I remember a game against Auburndale. So you and your guys compete in Division 5, Auburndale Division 4 school. You went over to Auburndale, beat them, and you kind of went on a roll there for a while. And then you went over to Marathon. Marathon, another team, Division 4. They're in the same conference as Auburndale. And you've had some experience over the years against Marathon, and then lost 72-60. What did that game do? And that was early in January. What did that game do to kind of recalibrate the team for the rest of the season?
It definitely opened our eyes, and it motivated us to work harder in practice, so we can avoid doing that later in the season.
Yeah, and just as it turns out, not every team in your conference is good. There's a lot of teams that struggle in the Clover Belt, and I don't think there's any question, or this is no surprise to anybody watching this. So Coach does a good job by scheduling some of those other games. If those games weren't on the schedule, come playoff time when you play those caliber teams, do you think that'd be a different story?
Yeah, I definitely do. It's kind of hard to like experience being down like without like actually doing it, and so if we went to have the Osseo and Marathon game, then it would have been a rough down season. Yeah,
and so as the season went, and then again, so you took the L at Marathon, but then you got rolling again. Obviously, the team learned a lot from that. And then in that crossover game at the end of the year, you played Osseo Fairchild, again, a Division IV team, so you're playing a level up. You lost to that particular crossover. Now, as it turns out, Osseo Fairchild also at the Cole Center. So that probably was a pretty meaningful game to you and the guys as far as, where do we really stand here? How good are we? And then, like you said, to have that intensity and to really go up against a school that's really going to challenge you. That's a big deal in the course of a season, right? Yeah. So playoffs come, and again, as you start in the playoffs, you play against a lower caliber team, and then each round gets a little tougher, all the way up to sectional final. You're over in Wausau, Green Bay, New Lutheran. Now you're down at halftime. What was the mood like in the locker room at halftime during that game?
We all knew we could play better than we did the first half, and we were just hoping that we could find a way to do it.
Yeah, and you absolutely did. Again, Tommy went a little nuts from 3-point and helped to pull the team back. I mean, you were snapping down rebounds, Mandel rolling down the court. I mean, it was a whole team effort in that second half as the clock kind of wore down, and what I think you were down by 14 at one point in that game, if not 12, if not 14. Now you end up winning by a fairly decent margin. So as the clock is kind of winding down under a minute, so what was going through your mind? I mean, you get to go back to Madison. What's going through your mind at that point?
It was just all surreal. I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of excitement, all that kind of thing. One thing that stuck out in my mind, so the plaque presentation, a little bit bigger one than this. Coach gives it to the team, and then I'm standing kind of on the other side of the court, and I got ran over by 200 of your classmates that were rushing the court. What was that like? All your classmates coming on the court to help and celebrate.
It was crazy. I lost my voice in like 2 minutes after it, so it was so crazy.
Yeah, it really was a great season, no doubt about it. So now we'll go back to the time you were maybe 10 years old or 12 years old. And think back to that first moment, or the memory that goes back the furthest to when you were at one of Coach K's camps as a youngster, as an elementary school student. What's that first time you remember kind of meeting Coach Konechny?
It was dribbling downs, and I was like a 5th grader or 4th grader, and I was scared of him because he's just older and he has a lot going for him, and so I just remember like shaking his hand, and then I knew I wanted to play for him right there, and so it made me want to become better.
Yeah, now Coach K, one of the nicest guys that I've ever met, but I've never played basketball for him, and I was never in a practice with him. And as you said, he can be a little bit intimidating. Kind of give us a story or a snippet about Coach Konechny that maybe not anybody else knows.
This year, if like we messed up, he wouldn't be so like harsh on us and like say like redo it or anything. He'd just like tell us that he knew we messed up and then we'd have to redo it. So I think that was, I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, he can be a real hard nose though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what was, and maybe you don't have to mention the player's name, right? But what do you think was the moment that we were like, oh man, we better not mess with this guy?
Last year, one time, we had a player who was struggling to make layups at a practice, and he kind of got chewed out for missing it, and I was kind of scared for him. So,
right. Now, talking to Coach K throughout the season, actually, it was before you guys went down to state. We had talked about you, as it turns out. He had said that he'd noticed during one of those youth camps, he had noticed your rebounding or just your ability to go after a loose ball. And so, what does that tell you about the way that Coach sees his student athletes and about you, that even as a little kid, he kind of saw what you were going to be? What does that say to you?
It just shows how good of a coach he is. And obviously I wouldn't be here without him because he's just so amazing at coaching, and I'm lucky to have been a player for him.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we better stop with all the compliments about Coach Konechny. He may get ahead of himself here a little bit. So, all right. So basketball season's done. You're on to baseball season. That's not what we're here though for. We're here to congratulate you on your winter sports season. So, just tell us and tell the people that are watching this, what's it like to be a student at Columbus Catholic High School?
It's fun. You get to have class with a lot of your friends because we're at a smaller school, so you know everybody's name in the hallway, and there's just a lot of good memories that are made here.
Yeah, and memories that are going to be made now for kids after you. You're going to graduate next month, and you'll move on. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. But there's going to be other student athletes that are going to come. There's hopefully for you and now the school, there would be another team that goes to state, volleyball, baseball, whatever it may be. What advice can you give to those student athletes? There's a lot to handle here. You got homework, and you got your extracurriculars, you got your sport. What's maybe just one piece of advice that could make it a little bit easier for the next guys coming up?
Definitely don't procrastinate, because if you have like a test the day of a game or the day after a game, you really need to do it ahead of time because you're not going to have a lot of time. Yeah,
that's pretty good advice too. I was a big procrastinator, and I've changed my ways here a little bit, but that's really solid advice. So off to UW Eau Claire. So you'll go from being a Don to a Blue Gold. Now you won't have to change school colors too much, especially if you like blue. It's a good place for you, and I'm a big fan of blue. Why Eau Claire? How did all that come to be?
I took a tour there, and I saw the campus, and I knew that was the place for me.
Yeah, all right. And then last question, we'll get you off on this one here. What is a Blue Gold? What the world is that?
A bird? I don't know.
It's a pretty good answer. Birds of a feather flock together. Where I'm going with this is we've got our female sports athlete of the year coming up after this. But Bryce, congratulations again on a great season and a great career here at Columbus Catholic.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's head it up to Colby.
Wisconsin Rapids Awards and More is more than just awards. They engrave guns, glass, wood, stainless steel, along with metal plates. Yes, they still provide custom trophies and medals for your event. At Awards and More, they even do t-shirts. Awards and More than just awards. 3622 8th Street South in Wisconsin Rapids. See them on Facebook and on the web.
As up top, looks in, gets it out to Streveler. Streveler looked at a three, brought it back down. Bullet pass again, Underwood. Streveler, three, got it! Here with our Zaleski Sports 2018-2019 Winter Sport Athlete of the Year, Ashley Streveler. Ashley, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let's just talk about the season a little bit, basketball season that you had during the course of the season. You reached your 1,000 point threshold. We talked about that in season. We had a little bit of hunch that things were going to go pretty well for Colby. We put you on the cover of a magazine, and all those kind of things. Just kind of talk about the season before playoffs, just regular season, and just some of the favorite memories with the girls and all those kind of things.
Yeah, like at the start of the year, after the way the season ended last year, we knew we were definitely throughout the summer working. We wanted to reach state at the end of the year, so that was kind of in the back of our minds the whole season. And we kind of set goals throughout the year. Our first goal was getting conference. And so we had to practice. We'd have fun, but we'd also keep pushing each other every day to keep improving.
Right. So regular season, undefeated, ran up some big scores throughout the season as well. How did you and the girls stay motivated? Or maybe a better question, how did you stay from being bored with the way the season was going?
Yeah, we... especially in the beginning of the games, we would make sure we worked on exactly what we needed to, staying in shape and stuff and, getting everything done. And then, if the game got out of hand, then, we would let the bench come in and we would just cheer them on and just be one big team.
Coach Rao, obviously a big part of the whole thing. Just maybe give us some behind the scenes on Coach Rao, what it's like to play for him, what, kind of his demeanor in practice. Maybe tell us some things that people don't know about Coach.
Yeah, at practice he's pretty quiet overall, but he definitely, pushes us every day, to keep, finding different drills for us to do and keep working on different skills. But he does have a quiet, personality kind of, but he has fun at the same time.
Yeah. And now think back to, grade school or younger than high school. When the first time that you saw Coach and maybe the first time he approached you, what was that interaction like? How did that conversation go?
The first time I probably interacted with him was in middle school basketball. He would, kind of come down and watch and just, But I don't even know when I first talked to him, but that's the first memory I have of him, like, watching me play.
Yeah, because in a way, a high school coach, obviously they're not recruiting you to go to a different school, but sometimes they get involved in those lower levels and help to give you some tips and some things to work on and things like that. So, and then talk about your first year as a varsity basketball player, what that was like, and then how your familiarity with Coach helped that transition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my first year there was actually 8 seniors on the team with me, so like that was a different change at first, but it was really cool at the same time because like they taught me a lot of things about leadership, and they welcomed me in, so that like helped throughout the next couple of years, me being able to step into their places afterwards.
All right, and now let's talk about the playoffs a little bit. Had a fantastic run. Colby Hornets went to state first time in school history. They kind of had a parade for you in the school, fire trucks outside, all that kind of thing. But let's just talk about the playoffs a little bit, especially those first few weeks or regional finals champs again. Just talk about the mood of the team and your favorite memories of the playoffs.
Yeah, the playoffs, like, definitely the community support has to be one of the best memories ever. Like, I mean, the whole town was out. They rode on snowbanks the day before we went out, so that was really awesome. But we knew we had to stay focused, throughout all the playoffs and just keep going towards our goal. Yeah,
and then there you were in a sectional, a semifinal, which looked to me to be the most difficult game of the playoffs. And, of course, you had another conference opponent there in Neillsville. You and Neillsville know each other well. You had trailed during that game. Just talk about what the intensity of that game was like. And then, when the scoreboard wasn't in your favor, I mean, how was the team able to really gather up and regroup themselves?
Yeah, we kept telling each other, we have to stay focused, we can do it. Like, I remember one time out, like, specifically, we were, like, all day, like, we got this, we got to keep going, we're not done. And, like, then we started, getting some turnovers, and the tables turned, and it came out in our way.
Yeah, all right. And then the next game, it looked like a breeze compared to the Neillsville game. I mean, really, that Neillsville game was a grind. I mean, it was a low-scoring. Neillsville, obviously, their strategy was to possess the ball, run the clock out, shorten the game. And then 2 days later, it's a racetrack up and down the court against Crandon. Just talk about that game and what a difference in kind of strategy and just the two different games altogether.
Yeah, we definitely didn't want the same thing to happen as it did at Neillsville, but we had some shots fall in Crandon, and that definitely helped, and our adrenaline was so up. We just kept going, and it just kept making shots.
Yeah, a couple of my memories during the season. One was, and it must have been regional final. I left the gym wet. I got caught up in the bottles with Coach Rao, and then there I am at Wausau West, right at the high school there. And I almost got trampled on by the rest of the Colby High School. Just what was that like on the court? All of your classmates, people that didn't play but supported you all year, and all of a sudden you're on the court with them in a big celebration.
Yeah, that's definitely something I don't think any of us will ever forget. Just everyone cheering and screaming together and just being so happy. I mean, everyone's been so supportive throughout this whole thing, so it was just cool to kind of do it for everybody. Yeah,
and then the fun ride continued over to Green Bay. Obviously, they didn't go like you would have wanted it to go, yet that experience was really awesome. Just, everybody's seen all the highlights. They've seen the game, all that. We don't have to go through all that. But what did you and the team do when you weren't at the Resch Center? And what kind of fun? How were you allowed just to kind of relax and blow off some steam a little bit?
Yeah, we went out to eat a couple times. I remember we went to Olive Garden, and we just, hung out at the hotel. A bunch of people went swimming, once we got back, and we just had fun throughout the whole weekend watching different games, and it was just fun time.
Yeah, memories for a lifetime. You probably won't realize it for a while, but after you go to college, you're in your career, you come back, and people are going to remember that was that team that went to state, and you're going to be able to tell stories to to your kids, grandkids, neighbors, whatever. And it's definitely a big accomplishment
for sure.
In that way. So. All right, we talked a little bit off camera about what's next, so now tell the whole world what you've got going on after graduation next month.
I will be attending St. Mary's University in Winona, Minnesota next year, and I will be majoring in elementary education and playing basketball.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that. Congratulations on a great career here at Colby High School. It was fun watching you and the rest of the girls play basketball.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Wisconsin Rapids Awards and More is more than just awards. They engrave guns, glass, wood, stainless steel, along with metal plates. Yes, they still provide custom trophies and medals for your event. At Awards and More, they even do t-shirts. Awards and More than just awards. 3622 8th Street South in Wisconsin Rapids. See them on Facebook and on the web.
All right, we're with senior Colby Hornet, Ashley Streveler. Ashley, you're going to state. How does it feel?
Oh, it feels so amazing. There's no words to describe it. We've been trying for this for years. It's awesome to be here.
Your leadership was key to this state run here this year. Talk about what you were telling the girls at halftime in the second half to finish this game tonight.
Yeah, we just kept saying, we got to move the ball, take our time, look for good shots. We couldn't rush things.